Magi-Oblivion. Magi-Oblivion, Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Skin red at the merchant and collecting herbs is when it all started in storms that blew about for miles upon miles. Darkness, it had been rumored to be everywhere, and the people of Skingrad were in desperate need of a hero. Even though the guards were protecting them, there still had to be someone who was more, and much, much more. But there was no one to come for their crisis, and cries for many upon many of years, until one day a woman appeared and was powerful, and all the people of Skingrad had gotten hope again, and her name was Magi. This day was called the Day of the Gods, and was a reckoning recorded still till this day of Skingrad. One last spell, and the spell was finished. The magical essence returned the Skingrad Inn along with the noise, and she thought there would be more, but needed one more spell to level her restoration skill. The practice had been experienceful, and so much was yet still to be learned. The pages begun of her magic book. She could not stop and not practice her magic without a level being made for her own and the people's sake. So while she had practiced her magic, she leveled her restoration. The magic book was full of spells and magic. It was well needed by a mage of battle. It came together with the pronunciation of her voice and was spoken well. Had it left her lips and became real in the living, then a bit more practice had been used and found useful. And thank heaven, they had been the ones with the gods. She laughed to herself as she practiced harder of the many spells and magics she had that she used. Not that she wanted to use them all, but she tried to. Rock from a mountain had been her target, hung and covered sturdily. Much practice would be used on the mountain rock every single day, and levels would be earned here by it. It had been an incredible lesson, and her life was made this way by it also. Would be amazing. The experienced future of Magi now was being earned, and a magical barrier formed surrounding her. At the town Skingrad, not far from Coral or Anvil, easily enough to see without a map, she begun her new journey at the Skingrad merchant. Barely but surely, to become a hero of Skingrad, she leveled her way here and there amongst the Skingrad people by showing them her potential and struggles, her mage's staff in fast rhythm, and her heart fixed on saving all of Mirth from evil doings. She became motivated, very motivated. Then she leveled to an ever-fuller battle mage. Then she was sad. There was a lot more to do, not leveling, for it was a major part of her ambition in becoming their hero. Unbelievable, and there shouldn't be any interruptions in any way. There should only be more favor. She moved slowly with her hands on her mage's staff and found it to be useful in tactics, not giving up like the others, nor giving in to them, but doing more and more and more. A perfectly organized mage, skilled, very powerful, and another level gained. It wasn't unheard of. A risky journey was likely to be experienced more than once. One spell away, disengaged hardly to widen the experience she earned all at once, and amongst the anointed people of Skingrad, she made her mark before them. She pushed harder at her magic casting, but the effort observed her own skill level. As she practiced for it all to become Skingrad's champion, she carried on with her skills. She spoke many spells of her own magic book until she was completely drained of her capabilities to cast magic. Tired, she had to rest. She ceased casting, sleeping deeply and calmly, and she did for quite a while, exhausted of her pool of magic. The whole entire time she slept and rested, she gained more magic pool, and her spells became more accurate to chance and to work, accompanied by her ability to cast magic spells. Slowly the chance became greater of her abilities and came to be a one-cast chance. She ceased magic more and more after each training, and the chance was perfect. now every time she had channeled her magic. What is a spell? Puzzling. Her mind angered to cast it even though it was beyond her level and ability. It was a level 23, and she was a level 22. For the level the spell is and the image of casting it was Magi's goal, and she kept trying to cast it. She did eventually, and she was excited once she did. Magi-Oblivion, Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The dark night turned suddenly terrifying when a lightning bolt ripped across heaven, followed instantly by a crackle and a boom that all but engaged the pouring of the rain. The storm that had come shook all of the mirth and boomed again and again. The storm that had startled all on mirth near it bloomed with its passing through the night and into the next morning, came without warning, streaming her magic from her practice. Strongly she kept her concentration from fear and further terror. She forced herself to concentrate harder, only to level to her max abilities, yearning to be Skingrad's champion and to rid mirth of all of wrongdoings she had practiced. Her magic, powerful as a storm, learning and getting even better, became the most powerful in all of Skingrad. Her level, now the most powerful, is ready to rid mirth of wrongdoings, and Oblivion will need to her to be pleased, although Magi must now search for the wrongdoings and rid of it and its use. Only she can save mirth and be champion. Her magic exceeds all in Skingrad and all who dared to oppose her. It did not fear Magi, the storm, nor would she distress or turn away from her ambition to be Skingrad's champion. She embraced it, and with her arms wide open, knowing that the storm was not going anywhere for a while, she stayed longer in the open. The greater her ambition became, she knew, too, that the longer she had stayed, the more wrongdoings would be done on mirth and in greatness. More than once during the last 48 years she slept, she leveled, she tired again, and slept, but she had wanted to reach Anvil and Coral, and the Tower of Kvatch, and the Gate of Oblivion. She learned if she victors there, then her being champion would be easier. On the other end, as much as she wanted to be champion in Skingrad, she wanted to be inside a Mages and Warriors Guild. She was too, but not allowed in all of them. She needed to find out how and appropriately, by the gods, she moved along down the dirt road. She followed it thoroughly, and she gathered herbs and leveled her alchemy, receiving some useful potions she could use. The most useful potions were for healing and restoring magic. She was miles from Skingrad by then, and unluckily, with no encounters, at least not yet, not at the appearance of things momentarily. The wind blew for a second, then only chased for seconds later to pick back up again. Following it was the rain. After more thunderclaps and lightning strikes, thunder clapped again. It was like music to Mael's ears. The sounds she heard, she grew to accept as she entered battle. Her spell the same as the weather, her strike with her steel mace brutal. She killed an angered wolf, and if she hadn't, it would have killed her. When she feared such a bolt of magic lightning might start a forest fire, she only used her single damage spells. She moved towards the north entrance of Anvil, and even if lightning didn't start the forest on fire, it could definitely do some unknown damage. Being most powerful in all of Skingrad eventually told her that an all-powerful god-like warrior could survive a lightning strike, but it had not yet persuaded her that its mortal body was any match for it. She had fought her way to become most powerful of Skingrad, and most certainly she did not admit her power to anyone but herself. She had a championship to win, a fierce championship, a battle-ready warrior who preceded her as champion, and she did not admit her terror of his steel greatsword either. And with the rain pouring down on her again and again, constant booms of thunder provided only light she had on the dirt road. She kneeled her magic towards reaching Anvil's steed shop. She knew of only one owner near it and might provide her with a horse with her 200 gold earnings. And although she might get there and receive no horse, she went anyway. In the dark night, she was certain of the Gate of Oblivion's location, but she knew that the king would have to permit her entry. More than likely, he would, no doubt. The Gate of Oblivion was itself something of a great power, and with the storms threatening easy of travel, time was qualified more than risk. So she turned to the road uphill and requested that the gods heed God in heaven, that he hold the rain and close the Gate of Oblivion that havocs Anvil. The rain hailed as she traveled her way upward, and shortly she reached the top. A quarter moon broke clouded cover, lightning ceased in a incited storm, and revealed Anvil's guard towers to the south. Tall and well-crafted they stood, well seen. With guards on watch, she neared the steed shop. The quarter moon covered again as quickly as it shone, and darkness returned the night. And few minutes is all it took for the olden steed's door to open with a terrible creak. Gust of wind nearly took the door from its hinges, and rain began to surface the roof wistfully. Need a steed? Why, yes, I do. Well then, 100 gold, and the last one is yours. And Magi spent her other 100 gold on a living wheel cart for travel. Magi-Oblivion, Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The rain continued to fall upon Anvil. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Terror filled the mountains nearby it, but it only added to the already existing horror, because the Oblivion gates were still open and killings were still present. We're going in, my king. King War. 12 days we shall return again. Level 30 Magi was already. There at the gate, entering it, she disappeared into Oblivion. With her exquisite dark brown hair, full face, and dazzle eyes, she seen Oblivion and its power for the first time, for she was near a Daedric group of minions and ready for battle appropriately as she faced her fears. They be finished soon, Lady Anvil. You go on ahead. I've sent Magi to help you. Lots of magic in metal, she added. Please, Magi, do not stand so close to the Daedric minions. Your metal is almost in flames. But I'm wet. Can you tell me where to close these gates, Lady Anvil? Before Lady Anvil could tell Magi how to close the gate, Magi added nicely that the minions were gone. The king himself answered that magic is the key to being champion, and the key to the gate was in the upper Daedric tower at the last door of Oblivion. Blast those Daedrics below, Lady Anvil. I told them those Daedrics are powerful, and here's the last door, so give me the key, my king. Believe the king nonetheless gave Magi the key. 3 Daedrics left for fighting over a lot of lives, my king. Not a lot of lives, Magi, all lives. And the king was placed, and the Oblivion shook, and all just like it entered and exited the same. The Oblivion gate was closed, and all of Anvil cheered. Never shall Oblivion be an Anvil again, nor will Skingrad be a target of it ever again. God, the gods, goddesses, and all in heaven will support me, my king. What sort of woman rides her horse through a storm and fire and closes the jaws of Oblivion to save all who witnessed it? The sort who seeks to be champion of Skingrad and all else, my king. Much indeed, you shall from this day forth be our champion, Magi. As I said, who can close the jaws of Oblivion can be champion. Would you have us deny her a bed, my lady and my king? Of course not. Lady Anvil is waiting for Magi now at the Anvil Inn. Magi, you will sleep there. No, sir, certainly not, my king. She will not be She will be champion guest at the house of Amelia Shepron in the house of Anvil. She will sleep there. One moment, Shepron. Magi, the king spoke. Are you okay with that? Yes, I am, my king. I will sleep at Amelia Shepron's house in the house of Anvil and return Skingrad in the morning for the championship preparation and ready for the championship at the arena in the Imperial City. Magi-Oblivion, Chapter 4. Chapter 4. She slept again at the Imperial City. Her regular schedule, the more she slept, the better she was in battle. One feeble match to be champion of all of Mirth and Oblivion. Hunched over her magic book, she didn't use any spells and had practiced her best ones. The championship announced with her and Ogrim's name. One at a time, they each entered into the Imperial City arena and awaited battle, and the battle had begun. Magi, she kept her distance, casting her destruction like a battle mage. Should an Ogrim swung his best-hitting Maul steel shield more than a dozen times. They battled and were neck to neck and kept battling. The image of the fight and battle horrifying, but was admired and looked upon by several who were into blood and games, and they enjoyed it. Cheering, the crowd also booed. Magi carefully used her magic, and the Ogrim felt each cast like a hurricane had ripped him up like a high-class wine with a lucrative value, and the battle continued. It came without warning. A powerful blow by Magi's mace and a steel shield block following another, and Ogrim became weak. You are too strong, lady. You're not strong enough, Orc. And placed there, Magi had Ogrim back in college, thinking if only I can get her off her shield block, I can win. But was not the case. Magi, 10 levels higher than he, she ended the match with a deathly touch of damage. The crowd cheered, and the Ogrim laid in the sand, not getting up. Your winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the arena, Magi! And Magi became champion of entire Mirth, and wrongdoings were ridden once by one. Since then, the end.